Welcome back. If you aren't new, welcome to the channel. If you are new, in today's video, as you guys saw in the title and also the thumbnail, we will be cleaning out these 25-year-old fuel injectors. We had a misfire code on cylinder 8. I heard the injector was not clicking, so I figured that it's probably stuck open or clogged. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the injectors off, fuel rail, and then we will clean them. This is the cleaner. Just be careful when you're cleaning fuel injectors with carb cleaner, just not to put the injector on all the time, just pulse it. How we're gonna clean them is we're gonna clean them with a battery. We're gonna connect the battery. We have a connector that goes to the actual fuel injector, and then we're gonna tap, basically simulating the fuel injector when the car is on. That way it'll clean the spray pattern up, and then this car should run and idle way better. So stay tuned for that. All right, turn you guys back on. I just vacuumed around the fuel injector so we don't get any debris inside of the intake manifold. This is the connector I bought, so this is going to connect to the fuel injector. We also have our hoses we made up, so this side goes into the spray can and this side will go into the injector. I believe this hose is too big, so we'll probably just stick with this one. We'll spray cleaner in there, it'll go through the injector, we'll pulsate it, and then that way it'll clean it out. So it's basically like you have fuel inside an injector, but instead it's carb cleaner. These are 10mm bolts, one right here, one right there, one right there, one right there, one right here, one right there, and then this is, I believe, a 16mm. Yeah, so 16. Crack that loose, and then we should be able to get these fuel injectors out. We just have to move the clip from the connector and then we'll be good. All right, got that cap off. This is the Schrader valve here. Tried pressing it down, it didn't even do anything, so I don't know if that's not supposed to have pressure. I thought it was supposed to have some pressure in it, but not sure what that's about. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this fuel rail off. All right, we got that line disconnected. Put a microfiber towel over it. It was 11/16, that is the size. So that's off. So now what we basically have to do is we're gonna pull this off, put this up here. That's the fuel pressure regulator. So what we're gonna do now is fuel rail is already loose. We just have to take the bolts off and lift it up. Put some microfibers in very quickly into the holes so nothing gets in. We're gonna vacuum some more though. All right, as you guys saw in the time lapse, I got this fuel rail basically loose now. I'm concerned about this line here. It goes to the intake manifold, but this also goes to the master cylinder. So I don't want to remove this and brake fluid goes everywhere. So I'm going to check on how to remove this and what this line actually does. All right, so did some research. This is the brake booster vacuum line. It just basically is air that goes through this line right here. So I'm going to remove that. Once I reconnect this, I still have brakes, so that's what I was worried about. I didn't want to do anything with the braking system. As you guys know, the brakes work perfectly fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this, and then we should be able to pull this fuel rail right out. All right, turn you guys back on. As you can see, the engine is basically a mess right now, but we have the fuel rail flipped up like this. This is the only way I can really take the injectors off because this wiring harness is literally wrapped around the fuel rail. So what I have to do now is I just have to take these clips off. What you do is you put a flathead in it like this, and as you can see, it slides off. And what that basically is doing is just holding the injector in place. They're very, very rusty, but we don't have new ones right now, so we're just gonna have to probably work with these. We're gonna clean these injectors up. We also have new O-rings as well. So I'll cut you guys back on once I get everything removed, all the fuel injectors removed. Then that way I can plug these holes and then we'll be able to clean these guys up. I finally got the injectors out. Some of the O-rings had got stuck in there. What you do is just pull them out. Spilled gas, basically all over the place. So I got to rinse it with water, let it evaporate before I even start it, because I don't want any fires to start. So what we have to do now is cover this fuel rail up. We have the injectors here. What we're gonna do, like I said, is we're gonna test them. We have the connector there, no problem. We're gonna have to splice the end of that connector, so then that way we can run this to the battery. But as you can see, fuel rail is pretty dirty, so it was time to clean these injectors. As you can see, they are definitely in need of a clean. As you can see, we have the hose lined up, or not lined up, but we have it connected to the injector. We have the connector connected to the injector. This is our splicing and wiring job that we're going to do here. What we're going to do is, like I said, we're going to stick that into this battery here. This is going to go into the can. We're going to fill the can up, then we're going to tap it, and then we're going to clean them like that. I'm going to probably set you guys up so you can kind of see how the spray pattern changes, so stay tuned for that. All right, we're gonna try this again. As you guys saw in the first clip, it worked very well. So it's kind of leaking from there, but that'll be okay. Put a connector on here so then I can do it better. As you guys saw, that turned out good, so we're gonna put this one over there. All right, as you guys can see, I made a complete mess. This is a pretty messy process if you don't have some hoses that fit together. I kind of used heat shrink, but it worked out the best I could. All 8 are cleaned, as you guys saw. I didn't want to do it for too long, just a couple seconds just to clean them out, get them flowing pretty well. We're gonna put these in the car. We're gonna find some grease for the O-rings. We're gonna grease everything up, and they're gonna go right back into the rail, and then they're gonna go right back into the intake manifold, and then we'll button this job up and get done. Turn you guys on. I'm going to show you guys the O-rings. As you can see, they are old. They are definitely showing some signs of wear. So it's good that we're changing these out. All right, so as you guys can see, we got some tune-up dielectric grease here to put onto the O-rings. So we're going to do that now. Turn you guys on. These are the O-rings that we are going with. Bosch, brand new. It's not gonna leak. I'm not gonna have any problems. So, all right, we have all of the O-rings on. As you can see, they look great. They feel great. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna plop these in, cover that up with a shirt. So I'm gonna cut you guys back on once I put the fuel injectors into the rail. Okay, turn you guys back on. We have all of the injectors in the fuel rail now. They look great. I wish they were new, but we got to work with what we have right now. These things are pretty expensive, about $130 a piece. So you do the math times 8, it's about $1,040. So it's pretty expensive just for injectors. So that's why I wanted to clean them. What I did once I removed this rail, it was a bunch of fuel just pulling out. I just vacuumed the fuel up. I mean, don't take my advice on that, but I had no other choice because it started to leak down into the engine bay. And you guys already know what will happen once that is done. So all of these injectors are on. I'll cut you guys back on once we have them plopped into the actual intake. All right, not sure where I left off, but I do know last night I stayed out here real late until it got dark to basically button everything up so everything is installed. What we have to do is we have to torque these bolts down to about 10 foot-pounds. What else? We have to tighten this vacuum line up. We also have to tighten the fuel line up over there as well. 2 of those It was actually another one that I didn't see. So, and there's fuel actually coming out as I speak. So make sure I tighten that up. So you can see the other one over here. So now that those are basically snug, we're gonna tighten everything up. And we're probably gonna let the car air out for a little bit because I did spill some gas down there and I don't want anything to, you know, catch fire. So I'm gonna wait a little bit for that, but basically everything is done. Tighten this up as well, and we'll be good to go. And then we'll see how these injectors work and see if we still have a rough idle. All right, turn you guys back on. Everything is torqued down. All of the fittings are tightened up. I just tighten that good and tight. I don't know the torque spec on that, but we should be fine there. It's just a straighter valve. It's just to protect that valve itself. So just make sure that's pretty tight. You can torque it down if you find the torque specs, but you could just make sure it's really tight and you'll be good to go. Now we got the cover. We're gonna plop the cover on, and we're basically done actually. But like I said, I'm gonna let the engine breathe out for a little bit, considering all that fuel and leaked everywhere. All right, turn you guys back on. We have 2 codes that are on the scanner right now. I just put the ignition on. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna read the codes, and then we will also delete them. So then that way when we start the car, we have no problem. So cylinder 8 fire, cylinder 8 misfire detected, which we already knew. So it was that cylinder. So we're gonna erase the code. All right, turn you guys back on. We have everything buttoned up. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna prime the system, or prime the engine, get the fuel pump primed and everything. So then that way fuel can start to run everywhere. What we're gonna do is, the main thing here is to check for leaks at these fittings here and from anywhere else. I think we'll be good to go. Honestly, I think it'll change the rough idle. So that's what we're gonna do now. We have the engine cover off for that exact reason. So we're gonna start the car and see what she does. All right, so we always had a good cold start. It was really a hot start problem. So let's see what happens. Guess it had to build a little bit of fuel pressure. Sounds good though. We're gonna see what she does at idle when it drops. She's still idling rough. I don't know what it is, man. I have no idea what the reason is at this point. Yeah, I have no idea. None of the injectors are leaking, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the cover on, go for a drive, and see what happens. I'll update you guys with that. But in the meantime, thank you guys for staying tuned. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys drop a like, comment, share, subscribe, turn post notifications on. I will see you guys in the next video. Turn you guys back on. All of the injectors are clicking. I'm almost thinking it may be a motor mount issue because it's idling a little bit rough, but the engine shakes and it shakes the entire car. So I'm thinking it's a motor mount. Now that I really think about it, it's good that we still clean the injectors anyway, because they haven't been cleaned, I don't think, since they were on the car or since they were installed. So